Stuff not working.
And welcome to Exiting the Huddle with Dan and Jacob. I am Dan,
And I'm Jacob.
and today we're going to talk about all the juicy college football 25 news and some of the upcoming games.
And we will also be having a moment of silence for a player who tragically lost his life. But more on that later. We're going to jump into this. We don't want to start off sad.
All right. So, do you realize that we're four or 5 weeks away from kickoff of the 2024 season?
Ohio State tweeted the other day, said 6 more Saturdays. We're almost there.
We're almost there.
And you better believe once that first week runs around, we're going to be going in depth. We're going to be doing, again, we'd like you guys to join our Discord. This is how we're going to do this. We're going to announce, we're going to pick 5 games at random, maybe using the Doom wheel.
Yeah, I'll have to get Froba and get that Doom wheel.
I can get you a website, but we just have to input all the names. You do like top 30 teams.
Okay.
And then maybe throw in some other random ones in there. But we'll be doing, I'd say we're going to be picking 5 games, maybe more. We'll see for how we're feeling for the weeks to see, to kick kind of our gauge on what we think as college football fans. You're like, oh, week 1, it's what, Ohio State versus Akron. If you pick Akron, you're insane. So we're probably not going to talk about that one.
So I'm going to call that score right now.
69-4.
70-10.
You think 70?
70-10.
Okay, maybe we might talk about that game. Have an over-under for Quinshon Judkins touchdowns.
Over 4.
See, I think it's going to be an error.
By halftime.
By halftime. There's a lot of interesting games in week 1.
Yeah.
There's some big ones.
Yeah.
Some big ones.
Bigger one in week 2.
Oh, yeah. Texas, Michigan.
Mm-hmm. I'm super excited for that game. Super excited.
I think I have to work or else I'd be here. As much as I hate both teams, I hate one way more than the other one in an order that may surprise you.
Yeah. Texas.
Yeah.
It's because what they used to do to KU, right?
No. So they continue to do to KU.
Well, luckily you don't have to play them, though.
I'm sure they'll work it in the basketball schedule. That was a rough. Remember Kevin Durant was in college?
Yeah.
That was a rough. Just how many threes he hit in one game? How many times I had to hear the Texas Fight song?
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, okay, we get it. I got another 3. We're still up 15.
But let's go into the new college football 25 that just released last Monday. What are your generalized thoughts of launch day?
I think it could have been better.
Okay.
Honestly, I think I felt like we were promised so many things. If you had the pre-release, what? Am I not close enough?
Hold it to you. There you go.
We were promised so many things with the pre-release. If you bought the deluxe edition, that you would get X, Y, and Z day 1. You'd be able to play, start your online dynasties. You can do all this and that, and that didn't happen. I was expecting to start our online dynasty day 1 when I was off, and then not to be able to even do that until Wednesday was a little upsetting.
Yeah.
There's also some issues with there's still a few bugs in the game. Game runs fantastic.
Compared to 2014, this is next level.
Well, yeah, it's also 11 years.
Yeah, but this is I don't even think 11 years ago you could have been like, hey, we have a new passing system. We have a new kicking system. Like it's all been that cookie cutter, copy paste, put this back in the game so that's just one thing we don't have to do. And they just went out and they just created these new systems. Um, I'm thoroughly enjoying the new passing system.
I hate the
Um,
kicking system.
the kicking system is a little rough. It is a little rough. But I enjoy it.
I just I got tired of I was playing a game as KU at Alabama because I'm a glutton for punishment. And anytime I went to go down and kick a field goal, like 40-yard field goal, should be fairly automatic for most college kickers. I shanked it every single time because of one of four different things. One was the wheel, like the spinny back and forth thing, was going entirely too fast and I couldn't stop it on time, or I put too much power on it, or I'd have the right amount of power, but somehow I'd be over here, or I'd have it perfect and I'd have it red. And it's just, I feel like if for the next game, because they're not going to change it for this one, I honestly wouldn't be opposed. I know it's supposed to be challenging, and I know that's why they did it. But at a certain point, if you're not going to trot out Justin Tucker for the Baltimore Ravens in a 40-yard field goal situation, and he's just like, oh, God, where's the ball? Like, I mean, he's just going to know. I really hope they don't do this with Madden. Because if they do this with Madden, it's going to be awful.
I really think that they should add both systems into Madden.
I
Because at that point it kind of puts more things into perspective for wins and losses. Like, are you going to be able to kick that game-winning field goal? 3 seconds left on the clock. It's a 55-yard field goal. Are you going to be able to hit that with the new system? I think that's a gamble, and I college football and NFL football is both a gamble.
I feel like in the new college football 25, I feel like you have to be aggressive. Like it pays to be, like it's like oh, I'm gonna punt. You're like at the 50 because you can't make a field goal from that far. It's like a 4th and 3. Honestly, in that situation, it almost pays to go for it.
In certain circumstances in the new game, yeah.
I will say one of the things I don't like, and this is on freshman, varsity, All American, and Heisman, just how you can have a wide receiver wide open, and out of nowhere, a defensive back just comes and picks you off.
I'm seeing that too, and I'm also seeing that with middle linebackers.
It's just like no, there will be no one anywhere near him, and all of a sudden they just warp to him, and they're just like, got it, and you're like, how? You're like, it's a little obnoxious, and that's one of the things I'm not a big fan of. Because playing defense, if you're on defense, you can't stop a running nose,
Yeah.
and if you're on offense, you can't move the ball. It's like you got to do all these trick plays, which are cool,
Yeah, they're
but at the same time, I want to be able to move my offense down the field. Like I'm not asking to be able to run 30, 40 yards every single play.
but
I just
more than -4.
I want to be able to have more than a third of a second to like see my receivers move before I'm just on the ground. And I feel like that's part of the thing. I think they turned the defense up just a little too high. That being said, it makes it more challenging. That also being said, it makes you have to it pays when you're doing the dynasties to have a more mobile quarterback. Because if you have somebody like, oh, let's go back 20 years. Let's say you have 30, almost 30 years. Say a Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning's not a mobile quarterback. If you had Peyton Manning in this same system, he would have to have the world's best offensive line to even have 3 seconds of for player progression to move the ball, because otherwise it's just hell. I'm using Jalen Daniels for KU and he has 90 speed. and after like 2 seconds, I have to take out because my players are just not open. And also, I've noticed, I don't know if you've noticed this, there has been an issue with illegal forward passes.
I saw that.
That is a penalty that happens a lot.
Yeah. That and switching some of your things to aggressive, like your offensive line and everything. I had holding penalties on every single play. It wasn't just like a holding penalty here and there. It was every single play I was being called for a hold.
I had one with the design, I had a wide receiver. It was a legal man downfield. He was a route. I'm like, how is he an illegal man down the field when he was the X receiver?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I just don't. Some of these penalty systems don't make sense. Some of the AI doesn't make sense. Um, this might be a patch that they work in somewhere down the line.
I don't think the game has had a patch yet.
Well, it's only been out technically since Friday.
Right.
Today's Sunday. If you want to be technical, today is Sunday, July 21st, 2024.
Something that I was disappointed with at launch. Team Builder.
Yeah, the team builder website just I wanna try to make my own team, but I don't know what I'm doing, and I want to get. So we're talking about me and Dan doing just a me and him. We want to build like an already established team, so we don't have to work as hard to build it up. Not saying that we don't want to work to build it up, but we want to hit the ground more running, as opposed to. That's actually another thing I've noticed. Recruiting in this game is either super easy or incredibly difficult. There is no in between. It's either you instantly can sign 4-star recruits for no reason out of a build your own school off of offering them a scholarship, and you're just like, I don't understand how that works, but I ain't complaining. Or you're a 5-star, you're a 4 or 5-star school. Like I have one for Florida State, and that's all. Like all my players that had suggested that want to go to my school are 5 and 4 stars, and then there's like a random 3-star because I need a kicker, or like a 2-star for a kicker, and they're like number one on my board, like for because they want to come to my school, and I offer them a scholarship, and the next thing I know, that player's gone.
Some glitches in the recruiting.
There's some glitches in the recruiting. There's some quality of life updates that they need to do into this game.
A lot of the quality of life upgrades for me is in the Team Builder. So I went through and there was a couple of our friends who had PCs who couldn't run the website. So I went through in our Discord with them and I helped them create their teams and upload them to uh, College Football 25. It's like the developers gave us their entire toolkit and said, go play. I love that. Don't get me wrong. I love it. I love all of the creation of that. What I don't love is you making me wait to create my football team.
Yeah, it should have been a day one
They
thing.
told us that it was going to be released a couple weeks before so that we could all get used to the whole creating stuff on the website system because everything was brand new. They brought in the guy previously who worked on the Team Builder website beforehand and NCAA 2014, and he got brought back and he sat with the developers and created this website. The website's beautiful, very very like it doesn't take a rocket scientist to run it. But what I don't understand is you let us create the team, but for a game that's all about pageantry, you didn't give us any entrances to choose from. You didn't give us any halftime things that come up,
Mascot.
mascots. Um, like I love the team builder. I just wish there was more.
And I agree. I think. All right, so this one's probably good. I'm gonna catch a lot of flack for this one. One of the things I'm not really happy about with this game is the night before release and up to a certain point, some of these YouTubers, some of these streamers who stream and they play college football 25 all the time. I feel like they got a priority treatment, and their gameplay looks a lot different than my gameplay. Not saying my gameplay looks bad. The game's beautiful. It runs fantastic. I love everything about it. I just feel like for, so hear me out here. They've had 4 years to make this game. I feel like it should be a little bit better. I wasn't a big fan of, like, oh, you got Shador or Travis Hunter playing Shane Gillis, and you got Quinn Ewers playing Snoop Dogg, or like, you got like the one YouTuber I really like, Bordeaux. Fantastic college football rebuilds if you haven't checked him out. He's playing Donovan Edwards. I'm excited for the game to be back, but I wish it was a little more polished. I feel like what they gave us is shined, but I think it could be better, especially with the amount of time that they've had to do this. And I'm not mad with the game. I just think they could have gave us a better quality product right off the rip. And like you said, like your team builder, you should be able to have a mascot, even if it's just like
A guy in a shark costume.
yeah, like how hard is it to find a shark? Mine would be hard because my team's Thunder.
Just, well, that's kind of like Stanford. They just got a guy dressed with a tree. You just run around with a lightning bolt.
Like the Chargers' unofficial mascot, where he's just like, "Hey!"
Yeah, all of that, 100%. But for a game that's like I said, it's all about pageantry. There's not a lot of pageantry when it comes to team builder.
I'm also a little upset with. I'm very happy with some of the teams that have alternate uniforms. I was kind of hoping that there'd be some more,
Mhm.
and I don't know if they plan to add some more into the game. I don't know if that's going to be a DLC because I would like some throwback uniforms from some teams. I was playing against Alabama. Alabama's uniforms are literally home and away. That's all they got. UCLA has home, away, and a throwback. That's it. I'm pretty sure I've seen other UCLA uniforms. You have Ohio State has the gray, the black, the red, and the white. Those are all really solid. KU has, their normal uniforms, the white out, and their Blackhawk uniform, which are fantastic. But I wouldn't mind having some of these old school uniforms.
Well, you know what comes to mind? Old school Nebraska.
Yeah,
Old school Florida State.
yeah.
Like,
Old school Florida.
it's old school Florida. All of those uniforms from back in the day in the 90s and the 80s.
Well, when they had college football revamped for NCAA 14, every school you played had their own set of uniforms for like every uniform that they had.
I do miss the Color Rush uniforms.
The Color Rush uniforms are dope. I'm a little upset with it. Oregon only has like 4 or 5 uniforms. When you think of college football teams that have like just an insane amount of
Don't
uniforms,
they have like a minimum of 40?
yeah. Look, like they have a pink one. Like they
Yeah.
have a. Why not? Why can't I use that?
Like, why can't I just use the pink uniform in October for Breast Cancer Awareness Month?
Why can't I use? Um, we'll use. Even though I don't like it, Michigan. Why can't I have their old school uniform, like their old school uniform? I'm not asking for leather helmets and long sleeve sweaters. I just want something. I want more, and I don't know if that's going to be a DLC. I mean, it definitely could be. I don't know if it's
I'd pay for it.
I'd pay for it too. I don't know if it's going to be an update because there's like some uniforms like KU. KU has a Kansas Day uniform where it's a Jayhawk with it's a sunflower and there's a Jayhawk in the middle and they're like light blue uniforms and they just look really good. I think you should have the option of maybe creating a uniform with the color schemes of a school. Like K State definitely needs a black jersey. I know they don't have one, but I think that'd be cool.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'd like the crimson red helmets, that uniform for Ohio State when they played Penn State forever ago. You know, Penn State needs new uniforms because their uniforms are trash, but
They have two.
it's like Alabama.
Mm-hmm. But I just think like the team builder was lacking from the start. Uh, Not only that, we got it the day before global release, um, which was not that's not what was promised. What was promised was is we would have it um, a couple weeks beforehand, um, because we it took away from the gameplay of we we were in the middle of dynasty play, and then we got the Twitter notification or X, whatever you want to call it.
Twitter.
It's still Twitter. We got the Twitter notification saying Team Builder has been released, and they gave a link to the website, and I immediately went to the website, and I, out of all of my friends, was the only one who could run it.
Probably could.
Yeah, you could have run it because your computer's better than mine, but I have a 4070 graphics card.
I don't have that. I have a 3080 Ti.
Yeah, I have a 4070 graphics card, and my computer fans kicked on as soon as I went to the website. As soon as I went to it, and they didn't stop. So it is very intensive to run that website. But I went through and I created 6 created teams for me and all my friends.
Would
So
you like to go down that list?
yeah, so we're gonna do some shout outs to the boys. I need a shout out to KJ2 Smooth. A shout out to Rome. A shout out to Froba. A shout out to Smoke. Shout out to Bucks. And I think
Me and you.
oh yeah, and Jex and Steak Sauce Casey 1.
AKA Dr. Dragon Hat,
Dr. Dragon Hat.
which they won't let me change. Because that's a bullshit thing, real quick. I was gonna change my name on PlayStation Network to Dr. Dragon Hat because it wasn't taken. It said if I do that, I lose all of the things I bought. It's what it says. It says you go in and change your name. It says if you change your name, you can. But it said potentially lose all of the things that I have purchased. I was like, how does that make sense? It's through one account. It's one email.
I know.
I was like, okay, so I just left it. I want to change it. Everything else, Discord, Twitch, Rockstar Game, you name it. It's everything. I'm Dr. Dragon Hat.
But yeah, it's been a wild week. It has been definitely a wild week.
I think it's time to talk about the thing.
Go ahead.
We would like to take a quick moment of silence in remembrance for
Andre Selden Jr., who tragically passed away this morning in a apparent cliff diving accident. Our hearts are with his family and his team as they go through this troubling time. It's always sad when you have to read about tragic accidents like this that could have been prevented.
it. Seems like it's happening more recently. A
He
lot.
and he was just a transfer. He transferred from New Mexico State up to Utah State to play cornerback, and he was 22.
Dude had a long life ahead of him, and it's very sad. He reminds me a lot of the day I woke up and I looked at my phone and I found out that Dwayne Haskins got hit by a truck.
Yeah,
It was You hate to see it, you really do. But our thoughts and prayers go out to him, his family, his team, his former team, friends, everything.
It's always rough reading this news. On a lighter note, did you see that Kirby Smart jokingly compared Nick Saban to Darth Vader?
No, I did not. Would you guys like to hear a fun fact I learned uh literally yesterday? So the actual physical actor for Darth Vader in the original Star Wars trilogy, so that'd be 4, 5, and 6, which is A New Hope, Return of the Jedi, Revenge of the Sith,
Empire Strikes Back.
Empire Strikes Back, which is the best one, but I always mess that one up. Um, the original actor for Darth Vader, after he found out that he wasn't going to be voicing Darth Vader and it was going to be voiced by James Earl Jones, Sir James Earl Jones, decided that he was going to just ad lib all of his lines, but it was just gibberish because the actual other actors would have to respond to it with their lines. So he'd just be like, gibble, gobble, 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 gibble, gobble, balls. And they'd be like, you don't mean that, sir, do you? Rah, 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 rah. It's a force joke.
So during the SEC media days, Kirby Smart says it's weird. The call I did to set up for the SEC media days, I was nervous for 15 minutes. I'm going to share with him about my team. I feel like I'm giving answers to Darth Vader or something. Leave it to Kirby Smart to make things weird.
He do that. He
He
do be doing that.
he do be doing that.
One thing I was wanting to maybe talk about, I wanted to do a little trivia today. Because we're so close to the college football season, and I wanted to try um one sec, I can't spell. We're gonna be doing some trivia with Dan. To do a couple of ones. We're gonna start with wins. Who do you think, and we can go top 4 wins. Who do you think are the top 4 most winningest programs in college football history? And this is Division One.
Michigan, Ohio State, Notre Dame, and Texas.
Close. You have 3 of the 4.
Which one did I name that wasn't right?
You almost had an exact order, by the way. Michigan with 1,004 wins. Ohio State with 964. That doesn't make any sense because after I say the next one, Alabama. Oh, it's because they have more losses. Is 965 wins. Notre Dame 948 wins.
Okay, so Alabama. Got any more brain busters?
That's not what I want. I want it all time. So here is, it says 7 records we think will never be broken. Um, who do you think holds the most games, gaining 300 or more rushing yards in a season?
A game?
In a season, most games in a season with over 300 yards rushing. I'll tell you, it's 4. 4 games in one season with 300 plus yards. I will tell
Isn't
you.
that Melvin Gordon?
No. I think same conference. This happened in 1988 when you were just a little baby child.
Yeah, I was just a baby. I don't know.
If I give you his professional team, it's going to give it away.
Go ahead.
Detroit.
I don't know.
He's an NFL Hall of Famer. The state of Kansas. It's Barry Sanders.
Oh, cool.
I'm not going to give this one because I don't even know who this is. Okay, I'll tell you I'll tell you who it is, and I'll tell you when it happened, and I'll tell you the record. I won't tell you what the stat is. What do you think the most consecutive passes completed in a season is? It was by Dominic Davis out of East Carolina in 2011.
What do you want me to give you?
How many passes did he complete in a row?
26,
It's more.
35,
You're one off.
36.
Yes. 36.
Nice.
Although in 2020, Graham Mertz, who I think is from Overland Park, he had his first 17 passes completed in the season opener, and he finished 20 for 21. So that's close. This is not going to get this one either. So this happened in 1967. The record holder's name is Brooks Dawson. It's for the most consecutive passes completed for touchdowns. What's that number?
17,
Lower.
12.
Single digit.
Oh, probably 8,
6.
6.
Oh, this one would be cool because it kind of ties into another one. Uh, Most rushing yards gained by two brothers in a season.
By two brothers?
Two brothers in a season. I'll tell you, the record was the record holds is 3,690 yards. I'll give you one. I won't give you one of them because that gives it away. But it was in 1988. So that tells you anything. One had 2,628 yards. The other one had 1,000.
I don't know.
One played for Northwestern. One played for Oklahoma State.
I don't know.
It's Barry Sanders and his brother Byron Sanders.
Oh, nice.
I mean, you have Barry Sanders and he gets almost 3,000 rushing yards. That's kind of. He's like, yo, I got 1 yard. My brother got 4,000. We beat it. Oh, this is a more recent one. What is the most passing yards or most yards gained by two opposing players in a game? These are passing yards. Happened 2016.
I think I remember reading this one.
Both are in the NFL.
I believe the answer to the question is this combined yards, combined passing yards, right?
Combined passing yards.
Okay. I think it's like 1,400.
1,383.
Yeah.
Now, who are those players?
I'd have to have the teams.
Texas Tech and Oklahoma.
Well, Patrick Mahomes
Okay.
and
We hate him.
shit stick
Baker Mayfield.
Baker Mayfield.
Patrick Mahomes had a staggering 819 yards passing, and Baker Mayfield had 564. I was gonna correct it, and I'm like, no, we're just gonna go with what I messed up with. Oh, these are also records that'll probably never be beaten. The most receiving yards gained per game in a career. This is from 1994 to 1995. They played for Nevada. The name is Alex Van Dyke. Guess the amount of yards he had for those seasons. Averaged
2,200.
per game.
Oh, per game?
Per game.
Oh, probably 260, 270.
Lower.
Really?
It would be what you consider a really good game. But this is
Oh,
every game.
what? So 160, 180,
140,
140?
which is pretty impressive.
Yeah, fair enough.
Another, the next one's also Nevada.
Colin Kaepernick.
No, most receiving yards gained in a game without scoring a touchdown.
202.
More,
240.
more,
285.
more,
306.
more.
350.
326
Jesus.
by Nate Burleson,
Okay.
2001.
Okay.
Had 326 yards receiving and didn't score a touchdown.
I feel so bad for him. Like, what'd you do? Run around the field? Score any touchdowns? Nope.
We'll go. Trying to find some recent ones. We'll go. What do you think the most interceptions in one season or career?
Oh, in a career?
And for a defensive player, what do you think the most in a career is for D1? I tell you, they played in the 50s.
42?
Lower,
35?
lower, close.
30?
29. Al Broski, fucking dope last name.
Yeah, dope last name. Shout out to Al Broski.
Al Broski played in 1950 to 1952. Well, what would you think that would be the most in a season?
In a season?
In a season,
Like, what's his name had?
the person
17.
that holds the record. Well, there's three. There's tied. There's Al Worthy of Washington and Gerard Holyman out of Louisville. One was in 1968. One was in 2014.
I'm going to say 17.
Close. It's 14.
14. That's still not
Most team interceptions in a game.
11.
10. That's enough of those. Let's get to the stats people care about. Why is it only interceptions? Give me the sacks. Okay. This is tied. This record. I'm going to give you the number. I'm going to give you the school he played for. And I'll give you the professional team that he played for. This guy's a Hall of Fame. The number of most sacks in a career is 46. They played college ball at Arizona State. And they played professionally for the Baltimore Ravens.
I want to, I don't know.
It's not Ray Lewis.
Yeah. I have no idea.
Terrell Suggs. Um, who has the most sacks in a season?
Most sacks in a season? Chase Young?
No.
No?
No. Also played for Arizona State. It's Terrell Suggs.
Huh. Hold on a second, because I'm going to look. I'm going to look at something. How many did Charles Suggs have?
Said 49. for her career.
No, I thought you said season.
It's 24.
Oh. Chase Young had 16 and a half.
It's not 24.
Yeah. What's his? Hold on. Okay, keep going.
So we're going to do one of these. I don't think counts as a thing because it says longest field goal made with a T. That doesn't seem like that's a field goal. That seems like it's a kickoff.
No.
So we're not going to do that one. The longest field goal ever made in college football was 67 yards.
Yep.
With a T. Can you guess how long the one without a T was?
I believe it was 71.
No. This is this D1, not. They might have. I think the record. It says at the longest. It says there's a note at the end of this one. It says the longest field goal ever made in a collegiate competition was 69 yards by Ovi Johannesson by Abilene Christian University, which in the time was 1976, was competing as an NAIA, not an NCAA school. So the longest NCAA record school. This happened in 1998. It was K-State versus Northern Illinois. The player was Martin Gramatica. How far was that kick?
69 yards.
No. So the longest ever was 69. But that wasn't actually.
Was I right? 71 then?
No, it's lower.
Oh, 64?
65.
65.
Let's go into Timothy. Total offense. Who is the all-time leading player in the FBS for yards?
What is the what?
This player has the most yards in the history of college football. That's passing and rushing.
He's a quarterback.
Yes.
He has 19,000 something yards.
More. It's like 20,000.
20,000.
20,114. They played for Houston from 2007 to 2011. Played for the Houston Texans for a little bit. Kind of never was a starter. It's Case Keenum.
Oh, yeah.
Who has the most yards in a season?
All-purpose yards?
All-purpose yards. Well, it says offensive yards. I don't think they're counting kick returns or anything.
Is that Michael Vick?
No, it happened in 2019. The record is 6,040 yards with 5,671 passing and 369 rushing. They at one point played in Ohio and maybe still play in Ohio.
Joe Burrow.
Yes. And the FCS record was in 1994. The record for that one was 5,799 yards by another really notable quarterback, Steve McNair. Okay, we already know the FBS most single game passing yards. Patrick Mahomes is 819. Who has the one for the FCS?
Oh, I have no idea.
They played for Old Dominion. This is before they went up. They played for a while for the Washington Redacted, and then now play for the Atlanta Falcons. Their last name sounds like a beer you like. Taylor Heineke. 791 passing yards.
Damn.
Oh, here's one. What do you think the number is for the most games with over 400 yards or more in a season? How many games do you think that somebody passed, ran, whatever combined for over 400 yards? It happened at Texas Tech. No, it's not Patrick Mahomes.
I'm gonna go with 9.
It's 11.
Is it 11?
It's 11. B.J. Simons,
Oh,
2003. Um. Oh, here's one. Which player has the most consecutive rushing attempts without losing a fumble in their career?
oh, that I don't know.
They played for Michigan in 04 to 08. It was a running back.
Well, I don't think that was Mike Hart, was it?
It is Mike Hart.
Is it?
Uh, who has the most career rushing yards
Of all time?
of all time?
Barry Sanders?
No. These. Oh, that's a weird one. It's somebody named Rod Dane. Played for Wisconsin. They had 7,125 yards. Here's a funny one. Here's a funny fact, and it even notes it in here. The most rushing yards in a career for the FCS school is by Adrian Peterson.
Oh yeah, he did play for an FCS school.
Not that one. It's a different Adrian Peterson.
What?
Yeah, it says Adrian Peterson out of Georgia Southern University from 98 to 2001. It says, note, not the same Adrian Peterson played for Oklahoma.
Oh yeah. That's fair.
Oh, that one hurts. Can you guess the most rushing yards in a game?
Isn't it like 389 or like 412?
It's 427.
Yeah.
It was Samaje Perine of Oklahoma. Can you guess who he played?
Was it Ball State?
No. Think closer. Like really close. Like about an hour south.
Kansas State?
Hour south. Not 3. It's KU.
KU's an hour north, but okay.
It's that way. It's actually east.
Actually, that way.
West, whatever. You know what I meant. You dadgum know I did meant to you.
Well, dadgummit.
That's a weird one. Yeah, that's enough of that.
Good trivia. Good trivia. I got like 4.
Hey, they're all winners.
I am the ultimate loser, though.
Who is the only player with 2 Heisman trophies?
Well, considering he plays for my favorite team, it's Archie Griffin. Hey, do you know what 8 national titles, 177 All-Americans have in common?
Ohio State.
No, they all played at Notre Dame.
Oh. Real quick, let's talk about Notre Dame real quick.
How they're overrated in CFB 25.
Yes. But no, this is a hot take here, another one I'm gonna get flamed for. I don't like the movie Rudy. I feel like it's
Get out of my house.
I feel like it's a good story, but I feel like they can tell me to get the fuck out of here.
Get out of my house. You're not allowed to be here anymore.
You say that every time. I'm like, I haven't seen that movie. I've never seen, what was the one? The Princess Bride. You're like, I've seen it since.
Before we end this segment.
He's gonna yell at me for 10 minutes.
Oh. Before we end this segment, I do want to talk about something that we talked about the other day. How do you think the coaches are going to fare this year? Who do you think is on the hot seat?
Who do I think is on the hot seat? Ryan Day. I also think, um, who's the head coach for Florida State?
Oh no, he can't. There's no way they're going to put him on the hot seat.
Okay,
He had a playoff robbed from him. That's not his fault.
okay, then Dabo Sweeney is also another one.
That was my number one person on the hot seat. There's no way you can go to 4 consecutive playoff bursts, 2 national championship games, and then you've done fuck all for the last 3 years.
There's a couple. I think one of them is on the hot seat, but not for the reason you're thinking. I think that uh who was the guy? He head coach for Michigan. Or not Michigan, Penn State.
Oh,
James Franklin.
James Franklin?
I don't think he's on the hot seat for the reason you're thinking. I'm thinking he's on the hot seat.
I don't think he's on the hot seat for the same reason I think you're thinking he's on the hot seat.
I think he's on the hot seat because I think he's going to try to go to the NFL.
No. I think he's on the hot seat because Penn State has been a mediocre team since he's taken over. He hasn't won very many big games. When was the last time he beat Ohio State?
2016,
When was the last time he beat Michigan?
2018.
When was the last time he beat Michigan State?
Last year, probably.
Before that, it was not. Yeah, it's the big rivalry. It's the Land Grant Trophy.
Is it?
It was the last 2 teams to enter the Big Ten before all the college football realignment and stuff, and Nebraska coming in was Penn State and Michigan State. It was a land grant trophy, and it was granted to them because they were like, "Hey, we're the better team, and you shouldn't be here."
You do know, fun fact here. If Joe Paterno, before they joined the Big Ten, Joe Paterno was doing big things in Penn State. And when they were in I can't remember who they were. I think it was like it wasn't ACC, but it was like the EAC. It was like the East Coast or ECA, East Coast Conference. Or he wanted to make his own conference, and they said no because of air travel. And it was going to be like Penn State, Ohio State, Michigan, Maryland, Washington, and like a couple other weird schools that weren't any. It was like they were trying to make like this satellite conference thing, and it was instead of having a one like that. This is kind of why I think they're kind of going to the conference expansion like they have been, because I think traditionally you have the Big Ten, which is all up here. You have the Big 12, which is all down here. You have the ACC, which is all right here. You have the Pac 12, which is all right here. You have Mountain West, the Mid American, which is like in the middle. You have all those schools.
The Sun Belt right here.
The Sun Belt. And then I think what is slowly happening is that because travel is so much easier than it used to be 50 years ago, hell, 30 years ago, that you're starting to see these teams are going like, well, this doesn't matter. Some of them don't make sense because the name of their conference, like, oh, I don't know, Cal and Stanford in the Atlantic Coast Conference, because they're on the fucking West Coast. These are on the East Coast. They don't make sense. I think if you're going to do this big conference realignment, you're going to do this. I think it's time to maybe rename some of these conferences. So, like the Big Ten.
There's 17 teams in the Big
17 teams in the Big Ten. The 10 doesn't make sense anymore. If anything, call them the Big North. Because most of those teams are north of the middle of the United States.
Yeah.
You got your most southern is Iowa and Nebraska. And probably USC now, technically, because they're Southern California. but that's besides the point. You have a weird outlier. The Big 12, 16, 17 teams. I can't remember.
Call it the Big Midwest.
Call it the Midwest Conference. You know, or something along that line.
The only thing that sets the Big 12 apart is Baylor, Texas Tech, right?
What are we talking
Every-
about? Texas schools?
Those are the only two schools in the Big 12 that don't really belong because they're in the South.
Well,
All the rest of the Big 12 teams, you got Kansas, Kansas State, Colorado,
Iowa State,
Oklahoma State. Everything is centralized in the middle of the United States. Texas Tech and Baylor are the only two.
TCU, and
TCU.
Houston, and
Yeah. Well,
Utah,
UCF. Well, no,
UCF.
Utah is still kind of in that general
Arizona,
area.
Arizona State.
Those, yeah, okay.
Now it doesn't. Now your argument kind of got out the window.
I'm struggle bussing right now.
The one that makes the most sense, but now doesn't make as much sense, is the Southeast Conference, the SEC, because all those teams are in the southern, eastern United States, except for Oklahoma and Texas, because both of those are in the top left corner of Texas, essentially, because they're literally across the river from each other. One's in Norman, Oklahoma. One's in Austin, Texas. Those are north. That's almost Midwest. If you talk to anybody who's from the South, that's the Midwest. Most people don't consider Oklahoma the South. Most people from Oklahoma don't consider Oklahoma the South.
The Midwest. Well,
a lot of people consider
Northwest.
a lot of people consider Texas the South. I wouldn't consider Austin a part of Texas. I'm just saying that right there. You think of Texas?
You're gonna start a fight.
You think of Texas, and you think of Austin, Texas. That's not Texas. That's Los Angeles, Texas.
Los Angeles, Texas.
That is what that is. It's completely different culture from the rest of the state. I'd also throw Houston in there, but that's basically Atlanta. But I digress. Nothing wrong with Atlanta. I'm just saying. That's just how it feels. Have you ever been to Houston, been to Atlanta? It kind of feels like the same place. Just saying. And with that note, my random rant, I think we're going to call it. We wanted to have a longer podcast today, but we ran out of material.
Yeah, there's really not much in the realm of news of college football right now. We did a little bit of the segment on CFP 25, but
I think next week I'm going to remember my controller.
Yeah, we might get a game in or something on stream.
We'll at least we'll try to, as the season continues and as we get more into the season,
we will be going over stats.
We will be going over stats. We're going to be going over.
Sometimes when we're doing our podcast on Sunday nights, there could be a game playing.
There almost certainly.
And we'll have it on the background right here.
And it will be simmed.
No, a real college game.
Oh, really?
Yes, some games are played on Sunday.
Maction.
Yeah, so I'm hoping that, maybe on a Sunday night when we're doing this, we can.
Would that somehow be against, copyright laws? Because they're that's you can't record a baseball game and put it online. You can do, specific plays. If I get a copyright strike for that, maybe we don't do that. If anything,
we'll watch it and comment on it.
If anything, we'll have some CFB 25. We'll have our game of the week up there.
Yeah.
But with that being said, we're going to call it here. Thank you guys so much for watching this week. Thank you guys so much for liking and subscribing to this. If you like this, please like and subscribe. I kind of fumbled my words. I do apologize. My knees weak, arms are heavy. I got spaghetti all over everywhere. I'm not allowed in the kitchen. But if you guys do like this, consider leaving a like. Maybe subscribe. It doesn't cost you anything. You know what else doesn't cost you anything? Joining our Discord.
That doesn't cost you anything at all.
And if you join our Discord, that's how we get to know you more. That's how, you can be like, I think Dan needs to grow a mustache. And he's going to be like, no.
No, thank you.
And then he's like, I think Jacob needs to grow a beard. And I'm like, I can't. Not that I'm physically unable to. I just can't. It's a work thing. Or, who's your favorite team? You can go in there. Maybe we can have your team on the screen when we do get this going a little bit better because we have some technical difficulties still. But um, you know, we really do appreciate you guys coming in here and hanging out with us, watching the videos. It does mean a lot. Um, I have fun doing these.
Yeah, me too.
I know I ramble and I'm incoherent half the time, but I really do enjoy this, and I hope you guys do as well. And with that, I want to thank you guys again. We will be back next week. We're going to be exiting the huddle. I'm Jacob,
I'm Dan.
and we're exiting the huddle.